we use Evergreen webinars. So let me answer the mystery for you once and all. Jason, when should I do an Evergreen webinar versus a live webinar? Jason, I want to do an Evergreen webinar. Am I ready for it? Jason, it's like if a tree falls in the wood, does it make a noise? This is what this question is, right? I'm going to tell you this. I don't care how much better a live webinar may do in your circumstance for your product. And I don't care if over time, if you did 60 live webinars to really hone that son of a bitch in and get it cooking, right? We are going to start with an Evergreen webinar. So the answer is, when do I do an Evergreen webinar, Jason? ASAP. Immediately. Let's start there. We want to scale, right? We want to scale. Now, if you have a big, fat, free audience you can get in front of, maybe you do a live webinar there and you turn that into an automated webinar, an Evergreen webinar, right? Or maybe like it's a really complicated offer and you got to really play with it to get it going, and so you can make a lot of money doing the webinar, but immediately we switch it around now and automate the webinar, make it evergreen. But I will tell you, if you're starting brand new in your market, just start with an Evergreen webinar. Get it done. Because everybody does it the opposite way. They do the live webinars and they say, when it comes time, I'll do the Evergreen webinar. You know when time comes? Never. I want you to do it the opposite way. Start with the Evergreen webinar, and then when the time comes, do the live webinar. Period. Because at this point in time, we've done so much build-up that you don't have to be perfect with the webinar. But this is what this funnel looks like. Registration, waiting room, webinar order page, and checkout. Now, the webinar order page is different than the normal sales page. And we have links to all these these pages so you can see them. But this is the new funnel. Once they're registered, we get them in the waiting room. This is why I love Evergreen over a live webinar. One reason, and one reason only. Oh, well, there's more than one reason, but there's one reason that beats every other reason. When somebody sees your webinar on Facebook and it's in 2 days from now, I don't even remember what I ate 2 days ago, right? The number one thing that we saw that was successful on Facebook with webinars was time registered. The sooner it was to the webinar, the more money we're going to make. You could take an average webinar, but if they registered 5 minutes before the webinar, they're probably going to spend more money with you than if you take an exceptional webinar that somebody registered for 5 days. Because the show rate is stupid, dumb, low, small. 5%, 6%, 3%. Yo. Sometimes, right? Yeah, and I'll tell you if I don't, right? So I'm not shy about that kind of stuff. And there'll be times where I'll clearly designate that. But right now, the main purpose of this is to give you the whole overview. And there's going to be a lot of deconstruction. So I'm going to shoot a webinar registration video, just like I'm going to shoot video 1, video 2, video 3, video 4, video 5. So I'm going to say, hey, listen, this is video 1. Runtime's going to be about this long. My goal is to shoot a video that accomplishes this. All right, now let's go. And then I'll actually shoot the Amazon video, and then we'll deconstruct it. But this is what's great in this case. They go from registration 10 minutes or less. So if you land on the page at 9:28 a.m., just so happens we have a webinar at 9:30. Who would have thought, right? Wow. If you hit the page at 9:31, it just so happens we have a webinar at 9:40. Who would have thought, right? Now, while you're waiting those 1 second to 9 minutes and 59 seconds, I'm selling you in the waiting room. And then we have the webinar room, which has the automated webinar. Now, when I say automated, guys, this is very, very cart and horse automation. This is stupid simple. Because if it ain't easy, nobody does it. People even get way sophisticated with this. We used to do this. We were a victim of this. I'm telling you, this is a web page. That's what it is. It's not even that well executed because it needs to scale. We need to be able to put this in the hands of somebody who doesn't even speak English as a first language, and they should be able to replicate it. Because it's going to be more important for us to optimize this over time with Facebook than to get it right away, okay? So then the email follow-up sequences. This is where I typically start. These are the ones that are the most fluid and flexible. Because I want to get them to come to the webinar and then to buy. So immediately, we're hyping it up. Oh my God, we're going to start this webinar like in 2 minutes. Make sure you're in the waiting room. If you haven't, if you left or you didn't see it, get there right now. Here's the link. Boom. 4 hours after they register, we say, listen, we just got an encore to this webinar. We just produced it. It's out. You can go back and watch it. So immediately, you say, Jason, why would somebody come back and watch an hour-and-a-half webinar who just watched an hour-and-a-half webinar? I don't know. They do, though. They do. Listen, I don't care if you need to watch my stuff 2 or 3 or 4 times to buy. I just care that the check cashes, all right? So I'm not trying to figure this stuff out. I'm just trying to make profit. So we hit them 4 hours after that. Then 4 hours after that email, we hit a replay. Now, what's the difference between the replay and the Evergreen webinar? Just the page that it's on. It's the exact same thing. But now the benefit of this is we are, within 8 hours, we've touched them 3 times 3 different ways. 16 hours after the last email, we put a link to the replay with a delayed add to cart button that they can purchase through. So same thing, essentially. And then the last one, we put a link to the embedded webinar right in the sales page. So notice each one has a different progression. So it goes from a replay where the button pops up at a delayed time that then takes them to the webinar order form page. And then final Hail Mary is, here's everything. No delay. I'm selling you. You know I'm selling you at this point. Please buy. And then you can continue to hit them after that. This is when you're going to have to watch your numbers and make adjustments. This is the process. Real quickly here, and then we're going to wrap up and take our first break, and then we're going to come back and start shooting some of these videos. Here's the page layouts that we like to start with in general. All right, and you might not have these in your book, I don't think, other than the templates. So I built templates so you can hand them to somebody and they can figure them out. And so that's what they look like. Don't design them that way, and I'll show you what it actually looks like. And I made notes for you and all this kind of stuff. This is literally the same exact notes I give to my team to build these pages for me. Super simple, right? So you get some notes here on why this is important, how this should function, how this should work, et cetera, et cetera. So we start here. Is this always the best approach for every product? No, but it's really quick. It's really easy to do this, okay? And then it goes down to here, and this is what it looks like. This usually works the best. And then this goes down here, and then there's some more content. Done. I'm sure some of you could do better. The idea isn't to have the best landing page. The idea is to have one that's good enough, and you do it in a few minutes. That's what's important, right? So they say, oh, who's this stranger? They got some free ebook thing. Let me check it out. Then they see that page, they opt in, they go to the thank you page, and this is what this looks like. This is that training page that is really this guy's sales pitch that is really set to offset our ad cost immediately. And this is what the page looks like. And then, of course, what will happen is, and I actually removed it because there's like 15 pages of scroll after that. Because once we sell, we put that long form hitting sales letter underneath this thing. So they go and they hit this, and then they see this. You can put a button to the sales letter, or you can put it in line, whatever's easiest. It doesn't really seem to matter. But we sell hard here. But they don't see that pitch until 30, 35 minutes in of watching that thank you video. Because some people, they will only buy in the moment. So we should take advantage of that. And this is how we offset our ad costs. Now, video content page. So these are, once they've opted in, hey, I got video 1, this amazing piece of product launch content. We don't call that to the audience, but that's what it is. Check it out. We send them to a page like this. Very simple page with the whole focus of getting them to register for the webinar. The idea here, by the way, and this is what's really important about this, is it's not supposed to be good. What I mean by that is there's some guy somewhere, a hungry up-and-coming internet marketing guru, which used to be me like 9 years ago, right? Ben, when were you the up-and-coming hungry guru? Was that 6 years ago? 6 years ago. Yeah, right? Now we're some old dogs, right? We're like the M&Ms now, where we come out with albums getting mad at all the young kids these days. We can't relate, right? But there's some young, hungry internet marketer somewhere who could pick apart these pages and make them 15 times better. But they'll spend 60 hours doing that. And we win. Because best by test, we put it in the marketplace, right? So we're going to go through some of these again. So these are the specific examples. So this is an opt-in page. This is what this looks like. So this is what we're going to start with. Boom. Get your free copy today. Open the doors to your financial freedom inside the world's greatest online business model for passive income from best-selling author Jason Fladlien. Boom. You can hit this up, click it there, secure your download within this time frame. When that time hits 0, nothing happens. Just kind of important, right? Just opt in now. We find that usually works. Here's some testimonials, right? I think that one's you actually, James, in the middle. Yeah. And then we put a lot of copy on this page. I have found more copy works best than less copy. Again, not necessarily optimizing the opt-ins, but if people are reading this, they're more likely to open emails, click through, et cetera, right? Once they hit this page, and again, more copy still. This is a long page. People will out-convert me on these pages all day long, but they might not get the best dollars per click, per se, right? And then once they click on that button, opt in there, take them to the download. If you guys want to integrate Messenger, go for it. A lot of people are doing that these days. Probably works really well. Too complicated for us. So we're not doing that right now, but that would be a thing that you could put in there at that point in time. Thank you page then looks like this. This would be the actual sales video right there, and then we're going to write the copy based on that sales video. And then when that's done, they'll be able to go to the long form sales page and hit that up. So the product launch content videos look like this. Video 1, upcoming trainings. None of those are clickable. You can't go to them. You don't know when they're going to be released. You watch video 1 immediately. The whole focus is on click here to register for this free webinar training. That's all I want them to do. All the rest of this is specifically engineered to get them to register for the webinar. So same thing with video 2. Same thing with video 3. Notice a pattern here. The only thing that gets different is we don't let them watch the last videos. We show them what's coming up. That's like the soft yes. Like you either go for my webinar or you watch the next video and then you come to my webinar. Same thing with video 5. And then video 5, now we're just selling this like crazy. And then the funnel pages look like this. Registration page is pretty straightforward. We're going to test a video on this page versus not a video, so we'll shoot that. This is the webinar starting today at 8:15 p.m. So whenever they screenshotted this page, that meant that they screenshotted this page essentially at like 8:06 p.m. to 8:14 p.m., right? And then this is what this page looks like. This is where we start. Webinar waiting room. This is really important. So we're going to have the full motion video here, which we'll shoot here today for the waiting room, 10 minutes, because that's as long as somebody can stay on this page. It doesn't have to be 10 minutes. Most people do 2 minutes. And then I guess if it runs out of time and you got 8 minutes to sit there, you can. I'm going to try it for 10 minutes, but we'll see how I feel when we shoot that video, right? I'll settle for 2, but hopefully we'll get a 10-minute video there. And then testimonials and things like that, right? And then the broadcast room looks like this. Webinars live, stay on this page to remain connected, and you can put a live chat there, or you can just say, due to technical difficulties, the chat has been temporarily disabled. That's my favorite way to start, right? So it's a live, hey! And then when I'm doing the Evergreen webinar, just so you know the language, because we've already shot that, because I didn't want to have you guys sit here for an hour and a half and listen to me pitch off a slide deck, right? I would say, hey, listen, if the chat is currently active, go ahead and put in your thoughts. So it has that interaction, but to keep it simple to start with, oh, technical difficulties. And this is a lot of this is standard. When I start to pitch on the webinar, then we put the whole button there, and then we start to sell them. This has all the copy of the product and all this kind of stuff here, right? Bonus packages, selling. And there's like, this is just purely offer stuff. And then we put that above the revealed on this webinar here today. Replay page, essentially the same. They go and watch this thing. Replay is available for a limited time. Then they can hit the button when it pops up. Button sends them to the sales page. Sales page looks like this, right? This is all about here's the product, here's what you're going to get, here's the bonuses, here's the risk involved, hurry up and sign up. And there you go. So that's what we're going to create.